Hey everyone, good morning. It's Rebecca Undum and you are watching Rebecca Undum Live, your weekly Facebook show to help you rock your rural life, where every week we take a topic and we break it down. We give some just simple, actionable things that we can all do in our corners of the world. So as you're joining, if you want to say hi and good morning, I would love to hear from you. So this is my first Facebook Live show without my sidekick. So many of you commented, and I appreciate all the love and all the support as we put our puppy to rest last week. So it's just a very, very different vibe in my house. And so trying to find my own personal groove here. It's very, very different and very, very sad. Any of you that have experienced having a pet that was like a person to you, you get it. Hey, Glow. So happy to see you. Glow and Becky, that's us, right? Welcome. So good to see you. So yeah, just trying to get used to the lack of just presence. It's very, very different. So today we're going to get into our topic shortly. We're going to be getting into a 5-part series. I'm really excited to share this with you guys. I've written about this before. It's actually these five like types of individuals are outlined in the workbook, but we're going to go into a little more detail on them today to give you some just really hopefully helpful things to keep in mind as you might be encountering these types of people. Good morning, Tracy. Thank you. I'm at the point now where I'm not like spontaneously crying for no reason anymore, which is good. But that first day, guys, oh my God, it was just awful. Like I called my mom and I was like, can you please just come over here and give me a hug? Because I just, for those of you that are pet lovers or animal lovers, this is what it really feels like. And we'll see if any of you get this. Hopefully you do, or I'm going to sound like a flippin' crazy person. But basically, this little puppy leaving my life, this little person leaving my life, he's not a person, he's an animal. It feels like one creature, like the one person in my household that had zero expectations of me is gone. Like the person that would love me no matter how truly shitty I was being is gone, right? Oh, thanks guys. Now I might cry because I know you and I can just like feel you loving on me. Oh, it's just really hard, right? Like no matter how awful I was, he still wanted to be with me and be near me. And that kind of unconditional love only comes from pets. People can't do that. People can't do that. We're not that good, but animals, dogs are good. Like, well, okay, so now I'm crying again. I'm okay though. I'm gonna pull my shit together here. We're gonna talk about victims today. Victim thinkers is who we're gonna tackle first in our list of 5. And thank you, Kirsten. Hey, Katie. Good morning, everybody. And Christy. Good morning. Isn't it crazy? Yeah, I maybe should write like more that like post was pretty long, but I felt like that was a good cathartic thing to do. Maybe I should just write some more about him, but. Thank you all. I appreciate the love. I really do. Okay, so before we get into the topic, the first thing I got to do is give a book away. For those of you that are new to me, I'm Rebecca Undum. I'm the author of How Mommy Got Her Groove Back, founder of Groove School, a group coaching program. And every week on Rebecca Undum Live, we give away a book. We meaning me now. I don't have a we anymore. But I give away a book because I believe in karma, and I love getting my book into the hands of people that haven't read it yet. I mean, why wouldn't I love that, right? So today, and I believe this person has read the book. So you're going to have to just find some lucky friend to give it to. But the winner, based on last week's share on the live or the replay, if people were watching in replay or going back and adding a comment, is Tracy Middaugh. So Tracy, congratulations. So I got to do is PM me your address and I will send you a copy of the book and I'll sign it and you can give it away to somebody. So if nothing else, we should be giving lots of love after all of the ridiculousness last week as well. Or I guess it was it was exactly last week, right? In Las Vegas, there's so many things that are really scary. And so I'm all about, let's try and do what we can to spread some love, right? All right, so let's talk about the 5 types of people we ought to avoid, and we're going to take them one at a time. So we're just going to start today with people that are victim thinkers. And here's why I say that there are actually types of people that we should avoid. Truly, it's because we have a limit to our time, love, energy, and attention that we can give. You'd like to think that our love is just limitless and there's always room for one more person. I just, at least, and again, like, take me to task on this, everybody. Yay, Tracy. You haven't read it. Oh, good. Good. Well, that's even better. That's perfect. And Rhonda's joining. Oh, it's so great to see all you guys. That's awesome. Okay, so honestly, take me to task on this. If you feel like no matter what happens, like you have just exponential amounts of love and time and energy, man, then you've got a secret that I certainly don't have. I know that for me, it requires making choices about who we choose to spend our time with. And so even actually in group school, just last week, we did a live training on like how to find your people and what to do to like rearrange the people in your lives. And so the way I kind of described it was in the center, you've got who I lovingly call your nesties, right? The people in the nest. Now your nesties can also be just your tribe, or like they're the people that you keep very little from. And they should be the ones that get the bulk of your time, love, and attention. And what's weird is that a lot of times these 5 types of people that we're going to explore over the next 5 weeks, there's all sorts of reasons why we allow those people into our space, but they tend to be a time, love, and energy suck on our lives. And so what's weird is that you think about the fact that these people in the center, the nesties, the people in the nest, are the ones where we should be spending all of our time with them. A lot of times these outside people, the types of people that we're going to talk about. Hello, Charmaine. So good to see you. Congratulations, friend. Big news for my friend Charmaine. She got her book published last week, live on Amazon. You can go find it. It's called Uncollapsible Cakes. Super cool. I read the manuscript. It's awesome. So kudos to you, buddy. That's so awesome. Okay, so all the people we should be, and I'm like tangenting all over the place because I get excited to see people. Okay, so you've got the people we should be spending the bulk of our time and attention on are the people that we don't keep things from, right? The people that we trust unequivocally with our whole selves, with our whole heart. They know us. Ideally, these are the people that get the bulk of the best of us, right? These 5 types of people that we're going to explore are the ones they come in, and whether they're a coworker or they're a family member or they're somebody that we feel this pull to somehow help and support, they end up sucking all of our time, love, and energy. And that's why we ought to avoid them. And so this first type of person is a victim thinker. Okay, so victim thinkers are the type of people, and they're different from blamers. Blamers are who we're going to look at next week. But victim thinkers are the victim, right? The person that thinks like this, they're the ones that generally believe that the world is either out to get them or is slanted in everybody else's favor but theirs. So they legitimately think that all the bad stuff that happens, it's like, well, of course it's going to happen to me because I have crappy luck and nothing good ever happens to me. And just very much they ask questions like, why does this always happen to me? Well, why do I have to be the one that, has this happen? The kind of poor me, woe is me kind of thing. And it's different from a blamer. And again, that's who we're going to talk about next week, because they're not actually looking for someone necessarily to blame, but it's just always woe is me, poor me, wah, wah, right? Okay, so when these people seek us out, a lot of times we would hope that they're looking for constructive input. That's largely not the case, right? They're basically just looking for someone to vent to. And again, if this is a one-off and this happens, like I find myself, we can all fall into this, okay? So I find myself realizing at times, like sitting in front of somebody that's in a victim thinking mentality. It doesn't mean that they're a victim thinker all the time, right? So you've got to take this kind of on a case-by-case basis. But the whole thing is, if you end up surrounding yourself with somebody that's like this all the time, we become like the people we spend our time with. And so we have to guard ourselves, guard our energy, and guard our time and attention. So here's what I'm going to say. The goal, okay, so going back to like the thing, you've got your nesties out, one ring out, the people that are closest to you, one ring out, you've got good friends, people that you hang out with, people that you love, people that you enjoy spending time with, but you don't tell them everything. You keep things from them because they don't deserve a seat at that table in the center, okay? You go one ring out, you've got associates, colleagues. So people that you know, people that you associate with, maybe you work with them. People in committee work fall in that outer ring. And then the furthest ring out are strangers. Like you maybe know their name, but that's it. You know nothing about them. And so what we talked about last week in Groove School and these 5 types of people, this is something to keep in mind, is are the right people in the right places in your life? Are you allowing somebody that really should stay in the ring of an associate in as a good friend? And you know you need to move them when you don't feel good about the relationship. There's a whole list of things, but basically, you know this. We're women. We were given intuition for a reason. And the whole thing is as women, we tend to not listen to that or honor that. And we do the guilt thing. We're like, well, they need a friend and I need to be there for them. No, you don't. Not if it's not good for you. Okay. So as we talk about these 5 people, I also encourage you to think about those rings, like think about those placements of people and ask yourself, are the people sitting in the right seats on the bus of my life? Like what's happening? And am I spending too much time with people that are taking more from me than I'm getting back from them? Because friendship, beautiful friendship should always be a give and take, right? You should never feel like a doormat to people that you call friends. They're not friends. Okay. All right. I get soapboxy about this, but man, I swear, like women, we're terrible at this. Okay. So victim thinkers. So they're the ones that think like, well, I'm sure other people struggle, but no one struggles like I struggle because my life is terrible and yours is just okay. All right. So first thing, if you can intentionally spend less time with them, please do so. And I know it's not easy, especially if there's somebody that held an important place in your life. But if you have tried to counsel them, tried to give them advice, and it just keeps falling on deaf ears and they're not taking any action, they are not trying to get better. Okay? If they are trying to get better, I've got some ideas for what you can say to them to help them. And I will say this again, I always say this whenever we're talking about types of people, I think about our kids. I have a middle child, and my middle child absolutely can be a victim thinker. He also can be a blamer, which we're going to talk about next week. Rarely is it his fault. Rarely did he do anything. And so I think sometimes these very simple things that we talk about can be applied to working with your kids too. Okay, so as we look at, it's 3 main things that we can help the other person. And again, you're going to give them this advice. And if they don't heed your advice, because this is good advice, I'm just telling you, these are mindset shifts that we all need to adapt if we want to live in the world and not be a victim. But if they don't take that advice and they come back to you next time and they haven't done anything with what you suggested and they're still like, oh, the world is awful, that's when you've got to say, okay, I'm not going to entertain this with you anymore. Like this, I can't play this role for you in your life. Okay. So also, as you think about these 3 things, the thing to keep in mind is that the goal in working with a victim thinker is to help them become more self-reliant and less dependent on you. And isn't that the goal with our kids too, right? Like it's a tricky thing for moms. We want them to hold to us, but ideally we want them to be self-reliant, right? Not looking to us for all the answers. Okay, so here's the first thing. So you can say something to them, and again, like use your words. I'm just going to give you some ideas, but the first thing to say is, whenever I find myself frustrated by the crap that the world throws at me. Okay, so you say it like that because, good morning, Lindsay. Hey. So the reason you say it like that is to let them know, A, you are not the only person that crappy things happen to. Okay, bad shit happens. Like we have to figure out how to work through it. So by saying that, you're empathizing, you're letting them know that you have also experienced some tough things. So you say, whenever I find myself frustrated by the shit that the world throws at me, this is what I ask myself. So here's your first thing that you can suggest to them. What can I do right now with what I have to make this situation better? Okay, so what that question does is 2 things. It focuses on us as action. Hey, Christy, yeah, I know, farming, right? That's good. That's good. I'm glad you jumped in. That's awesome. The first thing is it focuses on us. Like we're not, hey, Flo, this is awesome. Lots of people on today. Love it. when we're dealing with something that is happening to us, okay, and that's stuff happens to us, we need to take a beat and ask, what can I do right now with what I have in front of me to improve the situation? Because there's usually something that can be done. And getting the person thinking about, what can I do? What could I do? You know, instead of just, why is this happening to me? It's like shifting the focus from the thing that's happening to what can we do? Okay, so there's number one. Number two is remind them of the formula we covered a few weeks back, E plus R equals O, which stands for events plus response equals outcomes. So you can literally look at them and say, you know, when I find myself frustrated with the crap that the world throws at me, I always remind myself that my outcome is more dictated and determined by what I decide to do about this than what's actually happening. So right now you're frustrated. I get that. You're angry. You're having a hard time. All makes sense, right? Like, it's logical to feel all of the bad things happen. But if you don't want this to define you, and you don't want this to be if you don't want your outcomes to be completely determined by, let's talk about the 90%, right? So if you remember from that discussion, 10% of the weight of your outcome comes from the event, 90% comes from what you choose to do about it. So just simply reminding them of that across like research has been done about this, like you are not, and it might be a fun time to be like, you're not all that special. And hopefully, you know, they will laugh at that, right? Like, we all deal with this stuff, but let's talk about your response. What can we do? And then it's kind of reminding them about number one again. Number three is simply to remind them, especially if their event, the thing that's happening to them is another person, is to remind them that we don't get to define and change other people. It would make everything easier if we could, right? But we can't. So just reminding them that you are the only person that you can change. You're the only person that you have direct influence over. And so asking them, who do you really want to be? You know, do you want to be the type of person that every time something bad happens, you just become completely consumed by it, sucked down by it, and you can't even function normally, right? Like, is this really who you want to be? And that is a question I've asked he's only 6, and I've asked him the question, is this really who you want to be? You know, like, buddy, come on, like, things happen, bad things happen, it's okay, right? So those are the 3 things. And I would love to hear if you guys have any experience with this. And that's actually going to be the book giveaway for this following week as we take a look at the next type of individual. But when it comes to dealing with victim thinkers, our goal is to remove ourselves from their crutch, right? Or we can listen to them and let them vent to us, but we want them to become self-reliant. So again, to just recap, the 3 things you can remind them, and just by asking them questions, is what can you do right now with what you have to make the situation better? Remind them of E plus R equals O, that events plus the response equals the outcome, and 90% of the outcome is based on your response, only 10% is placed on the actual event. And so really that they have a lot of power. And then the third is that we don't get to change other people. The only person you can change is yourself. And who do you really want to be? Is this who you want to be? Okay, so try those 3 things out if you deal with somebody that can just never seem to take accountability for what's happening. The fact that we don't get to control events, but we have to take responsibility and take ownership of the fact that we have a response that we can give, right? Okay, so that's going to be our book giveaway. Is all you got to do is just, you know, tell me about a time. Maybe this week, maybe you have somebody that you know that is like this, and you just really, really struggle. Maybe you work with them. Maybe it's somebody you can't get away from as easily as I would just wish you could. Thanks, Lindsay. I appreciate that. We don't want to give energy to the things that we can't control. And sometimes victim thinkers are a serious suck on our energy because they are trying, again, if they don't take any of our advice, then at some point you just have to say, you know, I've given you all of the tips and help that I can give you here. I feel like you want to stay here. And if you want to stay here, I can't be this person because it's bringing me down. And that maybe will be enough too to just pop them out of their misery. But I would love to hear. You can either tell me a story of a time where you had somebody in your life that was a victim thinker. Maybe it was you. And what advice were you given that changed things? Just anything. Just share anything relative to this topic of being a victim thinker. And you'll get your name in the drawing for a book that I will sign and send your way. Okay? So that is what I've got for you today. As always, don't forget, some of what I referenced was straight out of the workbook. I will put the workbook link up for you today. You can get the workbook for free. It'll come in a PDF electronically to you. But yeah, I really encourage you all to, if you didn't catch the beginning of the replay, go back and listen to the discussion about the friendships and people in our lives. We have got to take control over where we place people, the importance that they lend to our lives, because so often we give a lot of time and energy and attention over to the people that don't deserve it. I'm sorry, but that's just the truth. They don't deserve it. And so we've got to own that. This isn't something, we can't expect other people to get that. We have to control it. It's our lives, our time, our love, our energy. Okay? So as always, everybody, groove on until I see you again. Thank you so much again for the love about my sweet little puppy. I can't thank you guys enough. It really has made a huge, huge difference. So have an awesome week, everybody. Take good care, and we will see you all next week. Same time, same place. Love y'all. Bye.